So the purpose of today's lesson is to use excuse me, rational and irrational numbers as applied to certain problems. So if we take a look at the examples we have 4 stars that have a color index, and we want to order the stars from hottest to coolest. The greater the color index, the cooler the star. Okay, so what we want to do is from hottest to coolest, and the greater the color index, the cooler the star. So that means we want to go from least to greatest. So this would be first, this would be second, this would be third, and that would be fourth. Okay? You have to be careful when you read these as to what order they want you. Don't just always assume it's ascending order. Now we're talking about locations in accounting California and their elevation, and we want to go from lowest to highest. So again, this would be first, this would be second, this would be third, fourth, and fifth. Okay, pretty straightforward. Now, Mike invested some money in Apple's computer, and he initially spent $610.25, and he had various price changes in a week's period of time. So he lost $2.30. He picked up $4.15. That's a positive. He picked up 63 cents, lost $1.12, and picked up $6.21. So when you do that, 617.82 is what the stock was worth at the end of the week. Okay, and what was the change? The change in price was $7.57. Okay, now we're going to get to a couple of problems that involve solving some equations. The area of a square is 3,600 square inches. What is the length of each side? Well, you should know that the area of a square is side squared. So if the area is 3,600, that is equal to side squared. So how do I find what each side is? I take the square root. The square root of 3,600 is 60. Okay? Now, let's expand on that problem. I have a rectangle. Now, a lot of times it might be helpful to just draw out a diagram just to visually see what's happening. The length is twice that of the width. So if this is the width, if the length is twice, it's 2w. Okay? The area is 20 square meters. Okay? I want to find the length and the width in radical form into the nearest tenth. Well, the formula is 2w times w equals 20. That means 2w squared is equal to 20. Now think of solving this equation as if it were a linear equation. You're trying to isolate the w, so I divide by 2. So w squared is equal to 10. All right? So just as we did above, what are we going to do to figure out w? Well, since it's squared, we're going to take the square root. So w is equal to the square root of 10. And we know that the square root of 10 is approximately 3.2. The length is twice that, or 2 square root of 10. And the length is approximately 6.3. Okay, so we used our ordering of numbers and our rational, irrational numbers to help us solve some problems today.